Hello and welcome to the new Uncensored Pillow Talk. I'm V.
I'm Jet Noir.
Just barely not a virgin. I'm Kyle Andrew.
And we're hopefully going to be covering some interesting topics around sex and relationships.
If you guys have any questions, make sure that you message us. You email us at pillowtalk@newsupnow.com.
We got it. He got it.
So our topic for today is open relationships. Is it more difficult to have in a traditional straight relationship or in a gay relationship? And for an opinion on straight relationships and open relationships within the straight community, Jet,
our expert,
what are your thoughts? What do you think is what do you think is more challenging?
I'm the token cis head of the show, and I think that one of the challenges that could come up, being cis het in an open relationship, is sometimes what will happen is in a heteronormative monogamy minded upbringing, then you still want to bring some of that into an open relationship, and so that what that may look like is deciding to sort of open and close doors in terms of changing between open and not open. Maybe your partner's away on a long business trip or something like that, so you want to keep things open, but then when they come back, now we're going to close things off again. And that's what I mean when I talk about sort of opening and closing doors.
So are you talking about an open relationship being different from having periods of time where you see other people?
Yes, because that's, if you treat that kind of like a faucet, right,
Yeah.
where you're sort of turning it on and off, I'm just mixing metaphors because why not?
I like the doors and faucets.
Doors and faucets.
Let's
build
turn
a
them
fucking
off.
house.
Just shut the doors.
They're all so wet.
Then challenges can come up because however some partner may be used to being when they are out of town, now that sort of changes and it's like, oh, now I have to sort of be this different person when we're together, and that could cause problems.
Changing habits is really difficult.
Yeah.
And being able to live a more consistent life is, I think, the goal of a lot of people. We like adventure, but in general, there's an amount of stability that we want, even in an open relationship.
Definitely. Yeah.
But I think what's really interesting for me is that I haven't had a chance to be as open or to find my community like Jet has. So I was open sexually at a very early age, and it was the crazy 80s and 90s. But for a woman to be outwardly promiscuous, right, was thought of as very taboo. Like, I was the whore and the slut. So, yeah, it's this idea of ownership that really has always gotten me in relationships, because I've never thought that way. If you really love someone, you don't feel like you own them. And that's why I don't know, we call it sexually fluid these days. Is that the word?
Ski. What?
Yeah.
Oh.
I think there's also something to be said about how you think that you'll react in a situation and then how you actually act. Because there have been times in my own life where I'm like, I don't care, like, if he does that with someone else. Like, great, like, it'll give me a break from his attention for a little bit.
Sure.
And then a situation arises where my husband was like, he didn't text me back for an hour or so, and then I have a thought. And that thought made me a little uncomfortable, and I was like, oh, I guess my thought of what I wanted to be and what I actually wanted, who I actually am, was a little bit different. And I think that can happen to us all.
All of it, in any relationship.
But I think that in the gay community, because I feel like it happens more, there's a lot more miscalculation that can happen. And because it's so much common around, you think that, oh, I have to be evolved. And I have to, like, be all of these other things. Above it. And I have to, like, not... Because I think it's a little bit of a double-edged sword that is like less common in the straight community.
I don't know. I really feel like we're one and the same, honestly. What would you say? As far as jealousy goes, I feel like the polyamory community, now that they have a language and they have theirs...
The expectation of jealousy and, like, knowing yours ahead of time.
That challenge is probably dealt with a little bit better than hetero.
Well,
traditional hetero.
Not necessarily. I mean, I would say that there's just as much jealousy. The difference is the communication around it.
That's
right?
what I'm talking about.
So a lot of times there will be sort of built-in support systems, or people will walk into a relationship with language to say, hey, I have a tendency to get jealous when XYZ happens, and so because of that is helpful as well. But the levels of jealousy, I think they're about the same. It just matters, how the communication.
I think it's the level of communication that is so key. That's what sounds attractive to me about the polyamorous community. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Polyamorous community. Okay. Can't say poly.
I think that is I think what happens is it's not as simple as because of the polyamorous community, but more there's so many workshops. There's so many talks that
Really?
we'll go to. Yeah, and
We're gonna have to
but I
post-
love
we're
that.
gonna have to post some.
I really love that though. So we are just about out of time.
We are? Really?
We're wrapping up, I think.
We're wrapping up. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's talk about where they can find us.
So you can find us on Instagram at Uncensored Pillow Talk. You can find us on Facebook, Uncensored Pillow Talk, or you can email us. So we're just three people sharing our experiences. We are experts in sex because we've had sex. So if you've had sex too, or you're thinking about it, considering it, send us an email at pillowtalk@newsupnow.com.
Newsupnow.com. And just make sure that you understand this is a safe place. So you can ask us anything. Nothing's silly, nothing's stupid, nothing's too taboo.
We want to hear all of your questions. Let them loose.
I love questions, like where are you going to be later? Alright, I'm Kyle Andrew.
Vanessa. Ooh, V.
Jet Noir.
I'll see you guys next time.